What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about, is the rivalry between LeBron James and Kevin Durant over? So let's see what they have to say about that.
Are the days of LeBron and KD being the NBA's best rivalry all over?
I want to know when they're going to begin. What do you mean? What, people talk about the best rivalry. Like, when was it really a rivalry? Let's not forget what happened. Like, were they considered by most people the two best players? Yes, although I think Kawhi has had something to say.
So wait a minute, if they're considered the two best players, wouldn't that be a rivalry at the very least?
About that when healthy. He got the MVP in the finals over LeBron. His team beat LeBron's. That's something KD never did until he joined a team where literally, once KD joined that 73-win team, there was no way for them to lose. How were they going to lose?
Well, they did lose. They lost to the Toronto Raptors. Granted, it's because of injuries, but being part of a championship dynastic team is being able to stay healthy, and they weren't able to stay healthy. So that's why they got lost. That's why they lost to the Toronto Raptors, so they can be beaten.
It was the most talented team ever. He joined a 73-win team. Airdropped KD into it basically without losing anything. Of course they're going to beat everybody. Does anyone really think that proves that KD was on LeBron's level or surpassed him because KD had a better squad than LeBron? Because I don't.
Showed he wanted to compete with LeBron.
Well, no, actually, it was anti-competitive in a way. KD was on a hell of a team as an MVP caliber player. They went to a Game 7 at Golden State. They couldn't get over the hump. LeBron went to the same Game 7 at Golden State the same year and beat them. Well, then KD looked at Golden State and said, well, what if we join forces? Maybe we could beat LeBron. What does that prove?
Yeah, but in all fairness, you have to look at what Kevin Durant was dealing with. So he was dealing with the Russell Westbrook, who was a complete ball hog, and it kind of shows that he might have been the majority of the problem because he hasn't been able to make it out of the first round of the playoffs since Kevin Durant left. So that's a problem right there. And as far as LeBron James beating the Golden State Warriors, let's not forget about the stimulus package that he was given when Draymond Green was suspended and wasn't able to play. So I think definitely if Draymond Green was able to play and they could finish out that series, I think the Golden State Warriors would have beat Cleveland and LeBron James would have never beat Cleveland. But that's a hypothetical situation. So I don't know. Let's continue.
He can prove something in Brooklyn now.
Well, maybe you need to go to the park more often, and maybe it'll teach you something. Because last time I checked, you still got to get on the court and ball. I understand what you're talking about in terms of stacking the deck and being an elite team. But you got to remember, when Boston had KG,
Talk to him. I was going to bring that up.
KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and ultimately Rondo. What does LeBron decide to do? Him, D-Wade, Bosh in Miami. Kevin Durant said, damn it, I've seen this before. And y'all stacked the deck. Wait a minute. We heard you because here's the deal, Max. You've religiously pointed out how when Sam Presti had Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, James Harden, Reggie Jackson, and all these guys,
And by the way, that was a nasty team. I mean, there was, 3 MVPs on that team? If they could have kept that team together, those guys would have been nasty.
Pointed to their youth. So what I'm saying is their youth up against that big 3 in South Beach was overmatched. So what does KD do? He's not feeling guilty about I didn't like it. I called it the weakest move that I'd ever seen by a superstar. I told him that to his face. I really felt that way. But where I altered my thinking to some degree was when people were using it as an excuse to say like, yo, I'm questioning this brother's greatness.
Now, where you altered your perception of Kevin Durant is when his mom hit you up and gave her her 2 cents about what you said about Kevin Durant. That's when you really started to alter what you said about Kevin Durant. So let's continue.
Who is? No doubt they were saying that about me, that I was questioning his greatness. And I was like, wait a minute. Brother, career 27 point per game score. He could average 30 in the sleep. I believe this brother had the potential to go down as the greatest scorer in the history of basketball. And when I really, really loved it was when Game 1 of that NBA Finals against Cleveland, when KD came down, drilled the 3, and then clapped his hands and looked at LeBron and said, let's go. In other words, now it's me and you. I got help now. Now let's get it on. Now, you don't look at it that way. But what I'm saying to you is, what do I point out when I go off about LeBron in Game 1 of the regular season? I say we all understand that you're trying to win games. We all understand that team comes first and the ultimate goal is to win. But in the sport of basketball, in the throes of all of that, There are moments where you get an opportunity to sit up there and be like, it's me and you now, bro. I'm going to bust your you-know-what. Let's go. And that's all KD was waiting for. And I love that. And I got to respect it because I know he got the skills. He could go on the court against LeBron any day of the week and drop 30 anytime he wants.
And lose if he doesn't have a...
So again, this was definitely a rivalry. For the very least, of having them be number one player versus two player in the world, let alone the 73-win Golden State Warriors versus LeBron James and going to the finals. What was it at that point, 7 or 8 years in a row? So there's rivalries all over the place, and at the very least, the rivalry between the number one best player, either Kevin Durant or LeBron James, and number two player, and LeBron James and Kevin Durant, however you guys want to stack that. But it was definitely, a rivalry. I can't believe I forgot what I was about to say. Let's continue.
Their squad.
I think we have to separate people's moves from discrediting their talent. I think you hit it on the head. And people, I just had Paul Pierce on my podcast, and that was the one thing we spoke about. People don't realize, he couldn't get over that hump in Cleveland, so he went and joined the Miami team. Regardless, the Golden State had 73 wins. You still went and joined two future Hall of Famers in D. Wade and Chris Bosh should get in.
Exactly.
So I think you have to separate the two. Were they ever really a rivalry? I agree with you. There was kind of a 2-year window where Golden State was playing Cleveland. It wasn't necessarily a rivalry. Who's to say? Both of these guys at the top of their game, healthy as can be. It's hard to say. Obviously LeBron's body of work speaks volumes, but as far as just one player to have for one game and who are you going to choose? Kevin Durant, a lot of people are going to choose Kevin Durant. So I'm excited to see him back.
Yeah, because Kevin Durant is a 7-foot scoring machine. It has a jumper from anywhere.
Healthy, working his way back. People have to understand this is still a process. So Achilles injuries used to end people's careers. So he's back now. He's moving around, and I think it's going to take him still some time to find his footing.
Look, the details are important here. So the point you guys are making about LeBron is true. But, of course, when you bring people together, bring pieces together, it's not the same thing as dropping yourself into a functioning machine and you're an MVP. It's like what LeBron did in the decision 2.0. But let's take LeBron's decision for a second. It's a little different, guys. LeBron was in Cleveland playing without a single other all-star. So for him to say, can I get a couple guys at least, is different. Now, I agree, where Wade was at that point in his career, it's a little excessive, LeBron. Nevertheless, okay, he went and did that. But he's going from a situation where not a single other all-star. He couldn't get him to trade for Amari Stoudemire. KD is coming from a situation, yes, when they first got bounced by LeBron, they were too young, right? They certainly were too young. But Stephen A, eventually, he had Westbrook in his prime. He had Ibaka and then Steven Adams. He had other MVP caliber players and other all-stars on his squad and went to a Game 7 with Golden State, lost, and then looked at LeBron and said, both the Warriors and KD said, how are we going to beat LeBron when he's got some all-stars? That is different than what LeBron did. It's different.
So I don't know if that's too far off from being the same thing. But you can definitely say, again, with Kevin Durant, he was dealing with Russell Westbrook, and it's pointing to more and more that Russell Westbrook was a problem, and that's why Kevin Durant left. Because like I said, Russell Westbrook hasn't been able to make it out of the first round since Kevin Durant left, and he's had a bunch of players. He's had good talent around him since Kevin Durant left. And like I said, the same thing with LeBron James. If LeBron James, let's not forget about that stimulus package where Draymond Green was suspended, a few other issues that allowed LeBron James to beat the Golden State Warriors. I'm not making excuses, but let's add in all pieces to the puzzle. So let's continue.
No one is refuting that it's different. What we're saying is it's not so different to the point where it gives you a license to ignore the fact that the
exactly.
The average 35 and 8.
Who doesn't know that KD is great?
No. But that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. If I know you're that great, I'm looking at KD, and that's why I said I went on the boardroom, and he knew what my position was, but I had to let the world know, please understand, this brother ain't some good player. This brother is one of the greatest players to have ever played basketball. He's that great. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm like, excuse me, let's go. I'll put it to you this way, Max. Let's sit up there, Matt and Max. Get 4 other guys and make sure they're all even. And the only difference is LeBron on one end and KD on another. You're going to have a 50-50 split as to who thinks